Last time I checked.
Yeah, she can't make it. Oh, sorry. No, we don't. We have 27 seconds. Yeah, it helps, General. I'd like to call the North Canton School Board of Education meeting to order at 6 o'clock on August 21st. Wow. Pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Wilson. Greenwald. Here.
Roden.
Here.
Stroya.
Here.
Van Branken.
Here.
Sir, was absent.
Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So, second?
Take your pick.
Roden.
Here.
Stroya.
Yes.
Greenwald.
Yes, here.
Van Branken.
Here. Yes.
No presentations tonight, so we have the recognition of visitors. Board policy allows for individuals to speak for 5 minutes, so long as the speech is not frivolous, repetitive, nor harassing. There are 4 people. Chuck, you're up.
Where do we speak from?
Right there. If you could come, have a seat, grab the mic.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Chuck Osborne, 307 Street, Southeast, North Canton, Ohio. I'm just simply like, I've seen your flyer that you intend to vote on tonight and mail out. We've been down this road 3 years ago. You made it clear you need all your funds to survive, to maintain the quality of schools that are known for here in Stark County and North Canton and throughout Ohio. I absolutely do not understand why the North Canton City Council is coming back again and again with another giveaway of well-built developers and multi-millionaires to give away your revenue that you need. And I will do anything I can to support opposition to this. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Here.
Sue Platt.
Hi. Could you hear in the back? No. I don't know if it's on.
I think it's on
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't turn it on.
Okay, I'd like to share with you an email that I sent on August the 13th to all city council members and administrators regarding my thoughts on the DRD initiative. And here is the email. As a North Canton voter and taxpayer, I have concerns about the DRD initiative. A community is only as good as its schools. The Downtown Redevelopment District initiative, currently being discussed by the government, will by design reduce the property tax dollars our North Canton schools depend on to provide a quality education for the students. Where is the collaboration between the schools and the city government? Reducing property tax dollars flowing to the North Canton schools will adversely affect our schools far into the future. I cannot support such a rob Peter to pay Paul initiative as is the DRD in the final analysis. In 2017, city personnel said that the school should stay in their lane, i.e. property tax dollars, and the city government should stay in its lane, income tax dollars. I couldn't agree more. I only received a response from 2 people, Mr. Darrell Revolt, who wanted to discuss the matter with me, and we did for about an hour Monday night after council meeting, and Mr. Fonte, who thanked me for my input. I did not even hear from my own Ward 2 councilman, Mr. Peters. No one from the administration responded. To me, that speaks volumes. No response is a response. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rita?
My name is Rita Palmer, and I live at 307 Fairview Street Southeast in North Canton. And full disclosure, Chuck is my husband. I would like to briefly express my support for a resolution of opposition that the board is considering tonight regarding the creation of downtown redevelopment districts, DRDs, that North Canton City Council is currently proposing. These DRDs will divert property tax revenue from our schools to developers. In 2016, Superintendent Lendorf asked the city officials to use city dollars for economic development and not school dollars, as the city was creating community reinvestment areas at that time. Due to significant city errors with the North Ridge apartment project, the schools were not originally consulted, and in the end had to settle for less tax revenue than they deserved. I think it's obvious that the city is no longer a true friend of the schools. In 2016, you should have fought harder for what was yours. Now you have another chance to make sure that citizens who vote for school levies are assured that the monies they give you stay with you and our students. Do not give the city your support for creating DRDs in North Canton. Fight for every dollar that was voted on for the schools to stay in the schools. If you don't do that, then why should I vote for your levies?
Thanks. Melanie?
Good evening. Melanie J. Roll, 308 Court Street.
Northwest, North Canton, Ohio. To those of you who were representing the North Canton schools 3 years ago, you may remember I spoke then of tax abatements. The city has now proposed another economic tool, the Downtown Redevelopment Districts, or DRDs, as its current model for economic development. The legislation as now written has 8 DRD districts. This plan has the potential to remove more of the school's revenue than even the CRA program. As many of us have stated, the North Canton schools should be the core of the city's economic development plans. Many citizens state they moved to this community because of the excellent schools, which they are excellent. And that includes my household a long, long time ago. I had the opportunity to attend the middle school open house last evening. Walking the halls to meet the respective teachers, I saw most families carrying bags of paper towels and toilet tissue to drop off at the various homerooms. I assumed this was a request to help defray from the middle school's consumable budget. How would those parents feel about those various school levies they voted to support actually having a portion of that levy revenue be diverted to the North Canton city government for economic development instead of the revenue going to the schools? Most likely, those parents are unaware of the proposed DRD district and their legislation. Making the North Canton community aware of this DRD program is now the task of the Board of Education and the administration. As I have talked to people in the community, they are unaware that this is happening. This is your job to make people know what is going on. I urge you all to support the resolution that is in opposition to the current DRD legislation. I ask you to vote in that way, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tolson.
Approval of minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the July 17, 2019 board meeting be approved.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the July 17th meeting?
So moved.
Van Branken,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Yes.
Stroya.
Yes.
Financial reports. It's recommended that the treasurer's financial reports for July 2019 be approved as submitted.
Is there a motion to approve the financial reports?
So moved. Second.
Stroya,
Yes.
Van Branken,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Yes.
Roden.
Yes.
Advance of funds. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the general fund to advance money to the following funds. That is the 003 Current Improvement Fund of $1 million and the 587 preschool handicap grant of $1,000.
Is there a motion to approve the advance of funds?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All good?
These are just advances, because we don't get our current improvement tax money at the beginning of the year. It comes in two chunks. However, we need to spend those funds at the beginning of the year. We advance the current improvement funds to be able to spend that. And the preschool grant has to do with the transfer of money or the movement of money to the state. And we didn't have enough, we didn't receive enough to close the month, so we can advance these funds. These will all be reimbursed by the end of this year.
Roden,
Yes.
Stroya,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Yes.
and Van Branken.
Yes.
Appropriation modifications. It's recommended the following appropriation adjustment to the temporary appropriations measure for the 2019-20 school year be approved.
Is there a motion to approve the appropriation modifications?
So moved.
Second.
Van Branken,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Yes.
Stroya.
Yes.
Treasurer's bond. It's recommended that in accordance with section 3313.25 of the Ohio Revised Code, the Board of Education approve the performance bond for the treasurer to be set in the amount of $100,000.
Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's bond?
So moved.
Second.
We're doing this because the auditors have requested they could not document it. At some point, this was approved by the board, but we go back that far to determine exactly when it was approved. So they wanted us to rememorialize our threshold for our treasurer's bond.
Roden,
Yes.
Stroya,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Yes.
Van Branken.
Yes.
Next is delegates for the OSBA.
Jessica is the delegate, and Andrea's going to be the alternate.
Thank you, Jessica.
Okay. It's recommended that Jessica Stroya be appointed delegate and Andrea Zarko be approved alternate for the North Canton Board of Education at the Ohio School Boards Association Annual Business Meeting.
Is there a motion to approve the delegates to the OSBA annual meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Roden,
Yes.
Van Branken,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Yes.
Stroya.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Wondor.
Yes, I'll have comments at the end, a couple announcements and so on. We'll read the employment statement, that the employment of all individuals who are being recommended for certificated and classified positions on this board agenda are subject to the successful completion of requirements of Ohio Revised Code and any other applicable statutes. Treasurer then be authorized to pay these individuals in accordance with currently effective salary schedules, rates of pay, or otherwise indicated. First item under certified personnel tonight is resignation. It's recommended that the resignation of Jordan Woods, part-time reading specialist at North Canton Middle School, be accepted effective August 21st.
Is there a motion to approve the resignation?
So moved.
Second.
Part-time employee that picked up a full-time person.
Stroya,
Yes.
Roden,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Yes.
Van Branken.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 2, it's recommended the individuals listed below be granted a limited contract effective for the 1920 school year.
Is there a motion to approve the employment of the individuals listed?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We are expanding our preschool program by a half a teacher and a half of a class at this point, and the other are replacements.
Roden,
Yes.
Van Branken,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Yes.
Stroya.
Yes.
Item 3, it's recommended that the individuals listed in the attachment be employed as mentors effective for the 1920 school year. The treasurer then be authorized to pay these individuals $25 per hour, not to exceed the number of hours indicated.
Is there a motion to approve the district and resident educator mentors?
So moved. Second.
Stroya,
Yes.
Van Branken,
Yes.
Greenwald,
Yes.
Roden.
Yes.
Under item 4, we have one adjustment. It's recommended the individuals listed in the attachment be granted supplemental contracts effective for the 1920 school year. And also it's recommended the individuals listed be granted supplemental contracts for extended days effective for the 1920 school year, with one addition on the supplemental contracts. We had a blank for Teen Institute Advisor, and that'd be Lindsay Johnson. She would be added, and then we'll make adjustments in the contracts.
Is there a motion to approve the supplemental contracts?
So moved.
Second?
Roden?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Thank you. It's recommended the individuals listed in the attachment be approved as home instructors effective for the 1920 school year.
Motion to approve the home instructors.
So moved. Second?
Stroya?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 6, athletic coaching staff. It's recommended that Trent Thomas be approved as a varsity assistant football coach effective for the 19 fall sports season.
Is there a motion to approve the athletic coaching staff?
So moved.
Second?
Roden?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes. Is this a volunteer position?
I believe this one is a paid position. They had a switch in, and I believe this one is paid. Is that correct, Todd?
That is correct.
We would have listed volunteer if not, but I'm not sure who got switched. Didn't vote. We already voted. Sometimes easily confused. Item 7, certified substitutes. It's recommended the Stark County Educational Service Center certified substitute list be approved for use in the North Canton City Schools effective the 1920 school year, including many additions and revisions and deletions that may occur throughout the year.
Is there a motion to approve the certificated substitutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on?
Stroya?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Item 8, a continuing contract. It's recommended that Bruce Niss be granted a continuing contract effective for the 1920 school year.
Is there a motion to approve the continuing contract?
So moved. Second?
Van Branken?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 1 on classified personnel. It's recommended the Board Resolution 7/13/19, change of contract status, be amended as follows: from assistant cooks 3 hours a day for 186 days to 5 hours for 186 days, to assistant cooks from 3 1/4 hours to 186 and 5 hours to 186.
Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the board resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Roden?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 2, resignations. It's recommended the resignation of Sharon Brannon, educational assistant, be accepted effective August 16th. Also, the resignation of Rachel Douglas, assistant cook, be accepted effective August 16th. And finally, recommended the resignation of Julie Whitmire, assistant cook, be accepted effective August 16th.
Motion to approve the resignations?
So moved.
Second.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Thank you. It's recommended that Ashley Meeks be granted a limited contract as a 3-hour assistant cook at Northwood for the remaining 184 days of the 2019-20 school year, effective August 20th.
Is there a motion to approve the employment?
So moved.
Second?
Adjustments for some of those that recently left to making sure kids get fed. We welcome Ashley.
Okay, Roden?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
It is recommended the following individuals be approved as classified substitutes for the 1920 school year, effective July 18th of 19.
Is there a motion to approve the classified substitutes?
So moved. Second?
Van Branken?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Mr. Plotty.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Gave you a support list with 3 items. I'm not really going to go over all of them. Just a quick staffing update. We had a great new staff orientation last week. 19 new staff members at that time. And, we now have 21 new staff members who are brand new to the district instructional positions. And when you look at it across the district, we've got 33 positions, instructional positions. We have somebody different in them this year than last year, so it was a pretty busy hiring summer. And then I did just share with you some preliminary results for state report card. You can see our preliminary grades. Nothing becomes final though until probably another 4 weeks or so. But we do have a chance to meet one more indicator than we did last year. I expect our position in the county to be pretty much where it had been, top 1, 2, or 3. I'm proud to work with our staff and students as well. Any questions on this? I'll give you the full detailed report with all the data in September, as I normally do after everything's final. A lot more information.
What's that improvement in the K to 3rd grade? She's announced that convocation.
In the
Percentage of improvement from last
yes,
year.
we went up approximately 10 percentage points in our passing rate in 3rd grade reading on the state test. And according to preliminary results that I've seen, we're sitting at the highest passing rate in the county. That may change, but regardless, we're proud of the fact that we went up about 10%. So about a 90.5% passing rate. Yeah.
Is there a new reading program, or is that happening this year?
No, we've got the same core language arts program in place, but I think that there's been a lot of focus on the last couple of years. Michelle Hostetler, our director of instruction, who is a literacy specialist herself, that was her forte, still is, has done a lot of work with our core classroom teachers, but also with our reading specialists and our intervention specialists over the last 2 years. I think it's all coming together.
Great work by everybody in PK on up.
That's right.
Yeah, 'cause it's not
Preschool,
Not just
kindergarten,
in 3rd grade.
Yep.
it's all certified and classified folks involved in that.
I
Making
think that was important that you mentioned that in convocation as well. Everybody.
Everybody touches.
Right. Custodians, bus drivers, groups.
creating the right support services and atmosphere and culture for learning. Appreciate it.
Under curriculum, out-of-state field trip, it is recommended that Missy Sturzbaugh, speech and debate team coach, adult chaperones James Kellums and Griffin Allman, and up to 20 members of the Hoover High School speech and debate team be granted permission to attend the National Circuit Speech and Debate Tournament at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut, September 13th through the 15th, 2019, with no cost to the board. It is, Part B, it is also recommended that permission be granted for choir directors Mindy Whitesmith and Jennifer Roden and the Hoover High School choir students to travel to and perform in Williamsburg, Virginia, March 17th to the 20th, 2020, with no cost to the board except substitute teachers for 4 days.
Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state field trips?
So moved.
Second.
The speech and debate, have they done this one?
This will be the second year that they have qualified for this, and it's based on the fact that they performed at a certain level at nationals, and when you do that, then you get invited to send so many students to this particular tournament.
In the Williamsburg.
That's a new trip.
That's pretty cool.
That is.
Okay. Mr. Nelson?
Roden?
Yes.
Van Rankin?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 2, out-of-state meeting. It is recommended that permission be granted to Kim Knighty, Director of Technology, to travel to Scottsdale, Arizona from October 6th through the 9th, 2019, to participate in the Futures Institute with no cost to the board.
Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state meeting?
So moved.
Second.
This is a very nice invitation for Kim. Kim said we were 2 in Ohio,
I'm one of 3.
one of 3 in Ohio invited to this conference, and it's a pretty nice honor to go and talk about innovation in schools and learning, and we appreciate Kim taking the time to go to that.
Okay, Stroya?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Rankin?
Yes.
Thank you. Under Special Services Contracted Agreement, it is recommended that a contracted agreement with Stark County Board of Developmental Disabilities be approved for the 2019-2020 school year, effective July 1, 2019, through June 30th, 2020, not to exceed the amount designated on the agreement.
Is there a motion to approve the contracted agreement?
So moved. Second.
Van Rankin?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Thank you. And item 2, amend board resolution. It is recommended that board resolution 92517, contracted agreement with Akron Children's Hospital, be amended to add licensed practical nurse LPN coverage for St. Paul School effective for the 2019-2020 school year as designated on the agreement.
Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the board resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on?
And but just for the board, we are including St. Paul's here, but we will be billing St. Paul's for the services. The district is not covering the service for them. We will be reimbursing.
And is there a new nurse or is it still Reba?
She resigned.
Yeah, she resigned, so they don't have school nurses. This is the services that they'll have, not have, their own body. Roden?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Buildings and grounds. It is recommended that the district facilities rental fees as listed on the attachment be approved effective September 1st, 2019.
Is there a motion to approve the district facilities rental fees?
So moved. Second.
Stroya?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes. Use of facilities. A, it is recommended permission be granted to the Boy Scouts of America to use Claremont Elementary School cafeteria August 29th, 2019, rental fee waived, excess custodial costs only. B, it is recommended that permission be granted to the Girl Scouts Troop 61094 to use the North Canton Middle School for troop meetings from September 20th through May 15th, 2020, rental fee waived, excess custodial costs only. And C, it is recommended permission be granted to the North Canton Police and Fire Department to use Memorial Stadium on September 8th, 2019, rental fee waived, excess custodial costs only.
Is there a motion to approve the use of facilities?
Second.
Any questions on any of those?
No, just stop out September 8th. Isn't it the fire department versus the police department?
Correct.
So that morning, our fire department and police department will be playing flag football against each other.
It's a fun thing out of serious training.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hopefully EMS doesn't need to get involved.
Exactly.
Roden?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
It is recommended that the North Canton Board of Education approve a resolution authorizing the extension of the master supply agreement for the purchase of competitive retail electric service from Direct Energy Business that commenced as of the June 2017 billing cycle, with such extension to be for a 25-month period through the June 2022 billing cycle.
Is there a motion to approve the contracted agreement?
So moved.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
It is recommended that a contracted agreement with Pure Water Technology for a water cooler not to exceed the amount designated on the contract.
Is there a motion to approve this contracted agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Stroya?
Yes.
Roden? Yes. Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
It is recommended that Board Resolution 112218, Energy Services Agreement with Juice Technologies Incorporated, doing business as PlugSmart, be amended to increase the contract not to exceed the amount designated on the attachment.
Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the board resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Roden?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. And board. Under other, section other, number 1, recommend the service contract with the Stark County Educational Service Center effective for the 1819, that should read 1920. That should read 1920 school year, be approved.
Is there a motion to approve the SCESC service contract?
So moved.
Second?
Roden?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
And those are for predetermined services and costs that we may or may not participate in. Item 2, it's recommended the Board Resolution 7/2019, Contracted Agreements Schedule RE, be amended to allow integration with our Schoology learning management system platform not to exceed the designated amount of the agreement.
Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the board resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Makes it a much better tool when it aligns with our data systems.
Roden?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 3, Spectrum Service Contract. It's recommended the service contract with Charter Communications be approved.
Is there a motion to approve the spectrum service contract?
So moved.
Second.
And and this is for our cybersecurity classroom setup that we need lines put in to that to keep them separate. We don't want them playing on our networks.
Stroya?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 4, it's recommended that a check for $1,865 from the Stark Community Foundation be accepted for the North Canton City Schools Education Endowment Fund.
Is there a motion to approve the acceptance of funds?
So
Second.
Roden?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
thank you. It's recommended the attached board policy revision be approved into our existing bylaws and policies.
Is there a motion to approve the board policies?
So moved.
Second.
This change in policy basically makes us, gives us an opportunity to rehire staff who have been retired previously at previous experience rates.
Stroya?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 6, it's recommended the board approve the resolution of intent to participate in the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission Expedited Local Partnership Program.
So moved. I'm sorry.
Is there a motion?
So,
Sorry.
Second.
Sorry.
So we're going to have some discussion.
Yeah, so let me explain what this does. In our conversations with the Ohio School Facilities Commission, if and when, and it has not been determined at this time, the district or the board decides to ask our community for money for schools, whether it's a full K-12 program in all buildings or whether it's a elementary program or a high school program, the expedited local partnership, if authorized by the OFCC, which is the new name for the old Ohio School Facilities Commission, gives permission to districts to spend their portion or a portion of their money prior to the state spending any of theirs. So the case may be where if North Canton City Schools wanted to spend money on an architect or on a certain amount of work on one of our buildings, as long as it meets future requirements of a partnership program with OSFC or OFCC. For instance, if we were to put a new roof on Hoover High School and that was part of the future renovations to the facility, we would get credit for already doing so. So it's basically a credit program, an expedited local partnership, expedited meaning we can move ahead of OFCC. Doesn't mean that we will. It puts us in a position where we can, if the board decides to do anything to our facilities in advance of OFCC. It also stipulates that the OFCC would not approve this request if they plan to fund us within the next 24 months. It's a little bit of a push to OFCC to get an answer from them because, as you remember, Bill Prenisel was here from OFCC in March and explained that they couldn't say when they would fund us. This asks them to do so, to say when they will fund us. So it's a procedure that we're happy to do and happy to recommend to the board, that it puts us in a position where we can do a couple things. Spend some money on some pre-planning and some potential things that might help us prepare for a future partnership with OSFC, but also not wait for their money. And secondly, to have OFCC answer us on when we may be funded. Questions?
So, and to be clear, we haven't had any discussions that, from my perspective, the community needs to drive where we go from a building standpoint. It's not going to be driven by us, but the community needs to do that. We haven't had those discussions. I'm not ready to have those discussions, but this puts us in a path to have some more information.
Yes, one of the things that I have at the end of the announcements is on September 4th at 6:30 p.m. in Hoover Hall, we will have a community meeting, and that'll start getting pushed out through all of our communications as early as tomorrow and tonight, obviously, for that community meeting to gather input on how folks feel about us being on the ballot for either a middle school and high school program or an elementary program or a K-12 program. We'll also ask what? Do we want 2 K-5 buildings, one north, one south, or do we want a central PK2 building and a 3-5 building? and then our middle school and high school. So there's some pros and cons to each. We'll present those. We'll ask for some community input. So please, as you're on social media and as you're on in your conversations, please share that with folks. We want a lot of constituents. They're September 4th, 6:30, Hoover Hall.
Roden?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Thank you. DRD resolution, the Downtown Redevelopment District. We had 4 public speaks this evening. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. This recommendation to the board this evening for a resolution in opposition, I'll read it verbatim, and there are some handouts we discussed publicly last month at the board meeting in July. How long ago? July. And we also have some documents floating around that you can take, if you like, with a little bit of a fact sheet of the DRD and the board's position, the district's position on the DRD. The resolution reads, the City of North Canton is considering legislation to develop a downtown redevelopment district, DRD, to spur economic development in the city. The North Canton City Schools supports economic development and collaboration with local governments. The Downtown Redevelopment District plan redirects 70% of new property taxes to the DRD rather than the school district, as is voted upon by voters on all property tax levies. This legislation uses education funding for economic development. North Canton City School residents approve millage on the ballot, understanding that the money will go to the school district for its purposes, not the City of North Canton for economic development. The actual ballot language reads, quote, an additional tax for the benefit of North Canton City School District for the purposes of current expenses. Therefore, the North Canton City Schools Board of Education does not support the City of North Canton DRD legislation unless language is added to reimburse or replace all diverted tax revenue. The North Canton City School Board of Education also requests that a North Canton City Schools Board of Education representative be added to the DRD board. For your consideration this evening, that resolution.
Is there a motion to approve the DRD resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Questions, concerns, thoughts?
I appreciate the speakers this evening. Some of the thoughts were reminders of things that have happened in the past, where people have been, positions that have been taken. And it is, to me, having been in this community for 52 years, 52 years, the community, the city and the school district need to be in sync. Somewhere along the line, this has gotten a little bit off kilter. We have to realize that what is going for the schools goes to the schools. The city has to realize that their plan is very important. But to me, and I think most of the people sitting here, we have to look for what's in the best interest of our children. That's what taxes we're voting for, not for any other. This was very well pointed out as you spoke about development. I really appreciate all the words that were spoken today, reminding us, in particular, of what has happened in the past, and the very recent past as well.
We as a board represent the constituents. We also represent each family, each student. Everyone that sits up here makes decisions in the best interest of our school district. I think it's really important that, as pointed out, it's our job sometimes to make people aware of what's going on, but it's not openly talked about. So I appreciate all the speakers. I appreciate each one of you putting together this statement. I appreciate my fellow board members for standing together and taking a stance on, I think, what's really important. About each family, each student, each staff member, especially just overall our districts.
I think it's important to note also that we do not have any land for sale. questions about that. There is no school property land for sale. And it's very important as we move forward, maybe this fall, maybe this winter, to try to come up with the best plan possible. We heard it loud and clear the first try, and I am hopeful and more than hopeful that a lot more parents get involved in the next levy, and especially the parents of young children in the elementary level who will benefit, I don't want to say the most, but who have the most at stake. And anyone who's been in the Greentown building, especially that building, knows that it's way past time to address that building. And, you know, we're not asking for a Taj Mahal, we just want what's best for our kids. And we want a safe building, and we want a good place, an appropriate place for learning. So I hope that when we open the talks with our community and start having the discussion and dialogue again for new buildings, that we can get more people involved, and we don't have as many excuses of, you know, we didn't know that, why weren't we told that? It's a group effort, and we care about our educational system in North Canton. It's obvious because of the history of excellence. So I want nothing more than, I'll be off the board by then, but I want nothing more than to see us succeed in moving our district forward with state-of-the-art classrooms that will enhance your children's learning.
From my perspective on the DRD, I firmly believe we are the economic driver of this community. People move in. I moved into this district 25, almost 30 years ago because of the school system. And this school system has proven to be an excellent steward of taxpayer funds. The city, I think there's some question about how they spend money, and it is concerning to me when you have somebody who has a long history and a proven track record and a community that supports the mission that we have, which is educating kids, not partnering with us and not figuring out a way to work with us on that aspect of our mission, in turn, want to divert those funds away from those kids and away from that mission. Having a seat at the table would be important, but it can't just be a seat at the table. It has to be a meaningful seat at the table. I'm a business guy. I understand pros and cons. I understand business. But we want to have a good relationship, and we want to be partners in certain things. But the city needs to understand that our job is very clear, educating kids, and we need every dollar we can to continue that mission.
Well, and according to the chart, we will be affected in a negative way more than anybody. So, and it's a huge amount that will be taken from our kids.
So from property taxes, North Canton City Schools receives 79.9% of funding from a particular levy. Next is Stark County services like MRDD, like Starkmar, and other county agencies receives 10.8 or 11%. North Canton City, the city of North Canton receives 6.9%, as well as the North Canton Public Library, North Canton Public Library at 1.4%, and 0.9% goes to Stark Parks. But that 80% of the funding being redirected of future tax revenue is critical to us.
And really, the others can't afford to take a hit either.
Right.
That's my opinion, but MRDD, all of it, I mean, the way the state funds schools, you know, we have to be proactive.
So again, with the resolution in summary, we support economic development in collaboration with local governments. This legislation, however, educates funding, uses educational funding for economic development. We ask that the city includes legislation in their DRD to be added to reimburse or replace all diverted tax revenue to us and other entities. We also ask that the Board of Education has a seat at the table on the DRD.
And I like Jordan's point, a meaningful representation, not just token.
Not 1 in 10.
Whose lead does it have to be? Is there protocol for that, or can we say, we would like to start meeting with you?
We have been.
I know. But publicly, would we like to push that a little bit more? Do we need to push it a little more? Would it be a positive to have Walsh College on that as well, and other entities that, library, you know, library?
They would, their boards would need to take action as I hope they would.
Okay.
All good? Mr. Colson?
Stroya?
Yes.
Roden?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
The only other item I have this evening is, again, a community facilities meeting on Wednesday, September 4th, 6:30 p.m. at Hoover Hall. We'll discuss the future of our facilities and answer any questions from the public. We need input from our district residents for the future of our facilities at North Canton City Schools.
The next board meeting should be September 18th.
Getting back to that point, though, I want to emphasize what Susie said. This next step, whenever it happens, however it happens, has to be grassroots. It can't be just planned, the board's plan. It has to be the plan of the community. And I'll give you historical on that too. Because in the 80s and 90s, early 90s, we failed 2 bond issues to improve facilities. And it was only when the folks, the grassroots folks, came up to me and said, what are we going to do about facilities? That the ball started to roll. So it has to be grassroots.
All in it together.
18th September. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Roden?
Yes.
Stroya?
Yes.
Greenwald?
Yes.
Van Branken?
Yes.
Thanks, all.
You like it?